I want to say thanks to Ed for putting this event together, because had he not created the Facebook event and invited all of you good folks, we probably wouldn't be here today. So thanks Ed for that. And thanks to everybody for coming out, taking your time to be here today. This is a bigger crowd than we had immediately after Tom's self-immolation, so hopefully next year we'll have even more people here and even more people here thereafter that, because it's important to keep his memory. And I just wanted to share my experience with Tom Ball. I host a talk radio program, it's called Free Talk Live, and I believe, I can't say for sure, but I believe I had Tom call my show at one time, because when I was coming back up north from a trip to Massachusetts with some friends, there was a court thing down there that we were dealing with, and we're coming back up through Troy. It was the middle of winter, and there was some guy, and I believe it was Tom Ball, because he had called my show, the same guy had called my show later on, standing in the middle of winter, like snowstorm coming down, bundled up, you know, waving and holding a sign about the abusive family court system. And I think that was him. I mean, he was just desperate for whatever kind of attention that he could get for his situation. And then, of course, we all know what he did. The day that happened, I got word from the local activist network here in town. There's a number of them here in the crowd today. We have a way of communicating called Port 411, where so we see something happen, we can pick up the phone, leave a message, and so I got this message. It comes out via email to a few hundred recipients all across New Hampshire. So I got a voicemail that essentially said, hey, something's going on down by the courthouse. The police have everything cordoned off. And I live just down the street here in Keene, so I hopped on my bicycle and I came down, and that's when I determined what had happened from some of the people that were in the area. They were aware that someone had set themselves on fire. And of course, you know, the police had already had you know, sheets that they'd hung up around to prevent anybody from seeing the body that was laying there. And of course, they weren't letting anybody anywhere near it. They weren't talking about it. But there was the burn marks, which many of you may have seen the photo. There's only, I think, one of them out there. I took that photo of the burn marks on the ground, and it was the next day that the court had painted over it. So they were in a real hurry to make this go away. So I'm glad I got the picture when I did. They did everything they could to brush this under the rug. And not only that, but I requested from the Keene Police Department the evidence that they'd collected in this case. You know, figuring public matter, the guy killed himself publicly, surely I should be able to access the police records for this case. Well, not only could I not get the video footage of the security camera, I couldn't get photos that the police took, and I couldn't even get police reports. I couldn't even get the words of the police department and their agents who had investigated this matter. So the city actually sued me in the same courthouse where he set himself on fire. They sued me in that same courthouse to have the same judge who, Judge Arnold, who was one of the judges that had screwed Tom Ball over, to have the same judge make the decision as to whether or not the city of Keene and the Keene Police Department would turn over this information. So I went to court with the idea of transparency in government, the idea of, hey, we'd like to see what the police are doing, we'd like to have some idea of what this investigation was like. And so I went to court and I lost. Some people came out and they claimed that they were members of his family, and that they, you know, objected to any of this information being released. And so despite the fact, I could understand if he'd hung himself in his own home, if it was a private suicide, I could understand keeping that information private. But Tom Ball set himself on fire in a public place, and he left a long message about why. He wanted people to know about this. He didn't want people to brush this under the rug and forget about it. Of course, I made all these points in court, and Judge John Arnold, he didn't give a damn. So I got shut down. Thus far, you know, that information is gone. It's probably been, you know, it's either in the archives or it's been deleted. It's not going to come out. But I just wanted to share what my experience was in trying to shed as much light on this as possible. I'm one of the bloggers at freekeene.com. We got a lot of visits to that particular page on the blog about Tom Ball. So, you know, when people type in Tom Ball, that article that I wrote comes up, and I spent a couple hours at the courthouse looking through the files and learning as much as I could about his case. And so that's just what I wanted to share with you. They wanted this to go away, and I'm sure they don't like the fact that any of you are here today. They don't like the fact that you are standing out in front of their courthouse. And if they had their way, they'd ban you from it. It's what they did to me earlier this year. That's why I couldn't stand up in the group with you over there. I've been completely banned from this courthouse. If I set foot past that white line, they're going to arrest me. In fact, I'm facing a trial right now for stepping onto the courthouse property to go to probate court to try to deal with a name change situation. So I want to clarify something that Representative Ingridson said earlier. This isn't just about the family courts, because Judge Arnold, who is the man in question here, also is presiding over the Superior Court in general. Or was. He's retired now, and they bring him back whenever they want to, like for my case, they brought him back out of retirement. But this is not just a family court matter. This is a men with power problem. When you give men power, they tend to become corrupted. And of course, when power is available to men, it tends to attract the already corrupted. So a position like Superior Court judge is likely to attract a real nasty kind of personality. Somebody who doesn't respect the Constitution, somebody who doesn't respect individual rights. And we see it over here in District Court with Ed Burke, and we see it here with this court here with whatever judge is sitting up there, because the new guys aren't much better than Judge Arnold. So there's no shortage of complaints, not just from the family court, but also from the district and superior courts. There's a huge problem across this state, and I think that the representatives are correct in that the 73A, this idea that these guys can just do whatever it is they want to, and of course in district court, there's the first rule in district court is that they can waive the rules anytime they want. So you have to follow their rules, you have to do exactly what they tell you, but if they want to break their own rules, it's no problem. And they just do it any old time they want to. So I'm really glad everybody came out today, and hopefully we'll see everybody back here next year and at the various different panel hearings in Concord, and maybe we'll see some change between now and then. I know that the representative's correct in that things do tend to go pretty slowly with the government, but at least some of those gears appear to be in motion, and with enough people and enough concerned individuals behind this process, maybe we will see something change in a positive direction, and I really appreciate your attention and time today. Thank you. Did anybody else want to speak here? I don't know if there's a guest list or speakers list, but the mic's open.